Okay, everyone's coming in. Welcome, welcome. We're just letting people from the waiting room come into the event. We'll kind of wait for our number to balance out and then we'll get started, kind of equalize out. I'll maybe give it one more minute. All right. Okay, I think we're kind of stable. Welcome to the ACE Mentor Program of Washington Student Presentation Night. My name is Angela Gatula, and I'm the Executive Director for the ACE Mentor Program here in Seattle. For 19 years in our area, the ACE Mentor Program has brought together architects, engineers, construction managers, real estate developers, and more, with the goal to raise the awareness for high school students to careers in the building industry. The ACE program is a national organization that was started in New York City in 1994. There are currently affiliates all over the country. Our Seattle affiliate was started in 2001, and it's one of the longest running. We expanded to Bellevue in 2006, down to Tacoma in 2016, and in total, we estimate more than 3,000 students have completed the ACE program here in the Puget Sound area. Our scholarship program is incredible. It has awarded $864,000 to seniors pursuing careers in the ACE fields, and we plan to award $120,000 more to 19 seniors in a couple of weeks, including several who are on the call tonight. As many of you are aware, this past year was unusual, to say the least. ACE, like every other program nationwide, had to adapt. This was the first year we were all virtual. There's a sort of magic that exists with ACE when students and mentors can get together shoulder to shoulder, and we hope that we can return to that next year. But the virtual experience has likely forever changed the program, and honestly, probably the entire design industry. We look forward to taking the lessons we learned this year and applying them to make the future of ACE even better. Also, and I wanted to mention this, all of the photos, well, most of the photos from the slideshow tonight are screenshots from actual ACE team meetings that I attended this year. I was just tempted to use images from the previous years, but I think that the ACE teams really need to be celebrated for the amazing virtual program that they created. This one right here on the screen is from our Thursday, I think the Gensler team. So you'll see more where this came from tonight, right? Okay, so what did this year look like? There was 160 students finished our program from 57 high schools. They were divided into 11 teams. We say that there were 2 Eastside teams, 1 Tacoma team, 8 Seattle teams, but the reality is that because of the virtual nature, students could attend meetings anywhere, regardless of geography. So that didn't matter as much. Students were mentored by 180 of the brightest professionals from 63 of our region's architectural, construction, and engineering firms. At about 4 o'clock this afternoon, I emailed a program out for this event. So kind of like the thing you would be thumbing through right now if we were in a theater together, but we're not. I emailed it to all the registrants tonight, and it lists the names of all the students and the mentors and outlines a bit more about the student project for the year. It also has links to our Facebook and our Instagram pages. Be sure to check those out and follow us. I do want to give a special shout out to the seniors who are graduating, and they finished this year so strong. Seniors, the program gives you special instructions on how to register as an ACE alumni. So you'll want to do that. So you keep receiving ACE news, scholarship opportunities, internship info, job information, all that good stuff. So a little bit about tonight. Over the course of the school year, the teams learned about each of the disciplines, and they met sometimes weekly with their mentors to work on a design project in response to a request for proposal. You can see a request for proposal outlines the project for the year, which was a STEAM educational facility built on a Seattle Center site. The RFP was written by our friends at the Seneca Group, a local real estate development ownership firm. They served to represent the ownership side all year. So Seneca representatives visited all the ACE teams. They reviewed concept plans. They answered questions. So tonight is sort of like the student's final pitch to the owner to get their design selected. And that's the same thing that happens in real life. So to keep it as real as possible, we've actually invited a panel of judges to review the presentations and moderate the Q&A session. So I'd like to introduce our panel to you. First, Lavina Sadwani is an associate principal at Seneca Group. If you remember, I mentioned Seneca earlier. Lavina's colleagues led the effort to write the initial RFP document. So she's here as the final owner representative, and she's definitely the one to impress. Secondly, we've invited Pete Maslenikov. He's a project executive at Skanska, but he's so much more than that. Pete not only started as a mentor and a mentor leader years and years and years ago, but he's now vice president on the ACE board of directors over mentor recruitment. In fact, most of the mentors who worked with the teams tonight got roped into signing up for ACE by Pete's efforts. So we were very grateful for him. He's been doing this a long time and has seen his fair share of ACE presentations. I know he's ready for tonight. Lastly, we've invited Russell Larson. He's a principal at Magnus and Klemensic Associates, which literally was the first firm involved in ACE back in 2001 when our Seattle program started. The M in Magnuson, John Magnuson, was the one who started our program here. MK has been a mentor and a sponsor and a stalwart supporter going on 20 years now. And tonight, Russell finally gets to see what all the fuss is about. This is his first time, I think, seeing an ACE, a batch of ACE presentations. So let's show him a really good time, okay? So thank you to our three guest panelists for participating tonight. So lastly, how's it going to go? Just a couple logistics. All the attendees here tonight on the webinar are muted. You can't turn on your video, but all of the students are here as presenters or panelists. They can turn on their video, they can turn on their audio. So what we've got is at the bottom of the screen, anyone who's an attendee can see there's a chat button and there's a Q&A. So you're welcome to put a message in the chat if you'd like, and it kind of goes out to anyone. If you think something in the presentation was particularly interesting or fun, you're welcome to make a comment. The Q&A is sort of for questions directed to the students. You can leave questions during the presentations like, oh, what was your inspiration for this? Or did you consider how much it rains in Seattle? You could write questions while the presentation's going on, and then the students can answer it, or the judges will moderate after the presentations are done rolling. Lastly, please remain for both presentations to support each other, be respectful to the time and effort and energy everyone put into the event tonight. And it's a great idea to check out the competition, right? I think all the professionals would say that. So right now, I would love to get started. Okay, our first team up is Thursday Team 1. I'd like to introduce you to Dan Swab of Methuen. He's the team leader with Thursday Team 1. He's been doing this a really long time. He knows what he's doing. So Dan, say a couple of words and then we'll roll your video.
All right, thanks, Angela. Well, first I just want to say hello, Dan Swab from Methuen. I'm an architect. I've been involved in ACE for, this is my 9th year, probably my 7th year as team leader. And, you know, I think we all know it's been a year like no other. But I'm really proud of all of our students and mentors for seeing it through. It's you know, Zoom fatigue is a real thing, and I know after a long day of school to be on another Zoom call or a long day of work for another hour or two is painful. So, you know, it's the extra effort that everybody made to get to the end has really paid off and really been appreciated. So for all the students, all the mentors on our team, thank you. You did a great job, and I was proud to be your team leader. And for seniors, good luck in your next adventure. And, you know, I hope all the rest of you, mentors and students, come back next year for a live in-person ACE year, which is even more fun than we had this year. So on with the show. This is our Seattle Sustainability STEAM School and Thursday Team 1. So roll that. Hello, my name is Dan Swab, and I'm the team leader for Thursday Team 1, and this is our Seattle Sustainability STEAM School. Take it away, CK.
Hello, my name is CK Viacrucis, and I'm a senior at Highline Big Picture High School. Our team is made up of talented professionals and students from firms and schools all across the region. In total, 14 mentors specializing in architecture, construction, engineering, interior design, contracting, or representation have helped guide the 21 of us students in creating this design. Each member of the team has worked hard, and we hope you will enjoy. In December of 2020, we received the request for proposal for a STEAM, or Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math focused high school. The City of Seattle is giving $12 million and land in the heart of the Seattle Center to create this facility. In order for students to learn and explore STEAM, the city asks for computer labs, wet labs, digital fabrication spaces, and meeting spaces to be included in this facility. They also ask for a lobby and exhibition space that students may showcase their work and connect with the public. They ask for a kitchenette, restrooms, and support spaces. And lastly, this facility must achieve a minimum of LEED Gold and promote sustainability through prominent design features. Now on to the specifics of the site. This project site is located just off Broad Street. What's immediately notable is that it's directly adjacent to the Space Needle. This project is also surrounded by major STEAM-related sites like the Pacific Science Center, MOPOP, and the Chihuly Glass Museum. From the street, you can really get a feel for the amazing view the site has of the Space Needle. You can also see the bright red steel sculpture, the Olympic Iliad. These surrounding spaces heavily influenced our design. To start off the program, we did several different icebreakers. We played Pictionary and built spaghetti marshmallow towers to get to know each other.
I'm Paul Bentler from West Seattle High School, freshman. And to start off our architecture and engineering journey after the marshmallow and spaghetti towers, we designed shipping container classrooms that could theoretically be pulled behind the back of a truck and transported anywhere in the world. Here are several of the designs on screen right now. And we also practiced sketching and getting our 3D concepts and 3D ideas onto a 2D piece of paper. Here are some of the 10-minute sketches that the students in the class did. And we then made a model of our bedroom in a 3D modeling software. Here's a highlight from Corinne, a model of our bedroom. We later used this software to model the site building. And we decided to name our Seattle Sustainability STEAM School that way for alliteration purposes and to make it memorable. Here is a photo that shows what the school might look like after it's constructed. And here's our exterior concept and our imagery. Here is the first ideas and what the design might look like in the future. You can see some of the designs here were later incorporated into the final design, such as the bamboo theme that you can see in the bottom left, as well as several balconies and skylights, which we also incorporated into our final design. And you can see some more of these design themes in these photos that we came up with, such as an open floor plan and a green space.
Hi, my name is Grant Miller. I'm a junior at Kentlake High School, and I'll be starting off with the project program. So the main goal of the project program was to outline the scope of the project itself. And off to the right, you can see we developed a project program chart to determine the individual areas from the RFP, coming out with a total of 12,500 square feet. We created bubble diagrams to transfer the required spaces from the program into the design process. They are important for organization, establishing relative room sizes, and determining the spatial relationships between the program uses. SketchUp massing gave us a 3D rendering of the program spaces as well as a visual representation of the bubble diagrams. And the SketchUp tool was used to introduce and practice massing using different designs to determine the preferred shape of the building.
Hello, my name is Isabel Jackman, and I'm a junior at Seattle Prep. One of the things we wanted to focus on in our building was sustainability because of our surrounding area. As we know, Seattle and Washington as a whole is a very sustainable and eco-friendly area. With the Olympic Peninsula, the Cascade Mountains, and the Puget Sound, we are very focused in on our environment and the well-being of those ecosystems. Here we wanted to look around the surrounding areas for these matters and also the major landmarks of Seattle that are posted right next to where the school would be. Next, we have the plans for this building and the layouts for each level. On the basement here, we have the maintenance facilities such as electrical and mechanical facilities that we wanted to put in the basement level because we didn't want them to take away from the overall architecture and framework and dynamics of the other floors. Next, for the first floor, we wanted to be able to have rooms like the meeting rooms, admins, and think tank on the main levels so that the public would be able to have a connection with these spaces and see what the students were making. We also wanted things like the Equity Lab and the Make the World Better Lab on this level for the same purposes. On the second floor, we wanted to be able to have all the labs and collaboration areas all together so that there would be a dynamic and great flow between the rooms so that students could easily access any part of that, any of those rooms for a specific purpose. We also wanted our greenhouse on this level so that it was also an easy access for students, as well as we used our double height as an ability to see other floors to keep all the spaces connected. On the roof, we maximized the space with solar panels, skylights, and the green roof to be able to continue our sustainable concepts. In these section diagrams, you can see the curvatures and slants that exhibit many of the bamboo-like themes that we wish to implement. In these 3D views, you can see the bamboo theme shown further with the poles outside of the building that also are used as the supports for our covered area.
Moving on from the exterior design, we get more into the interior design. So the lobby and reception was inspired by the natural and organic forms of bamboo, with the reception desk featuring a spiral that slopes to the ground. In addition, the lobby contains a sustainable info center display located on the back wall and local artwork. The lobby can also be viewed from multiple levels with a view of the Space Needle if you look through the skylight. The think tank serves as a collaborative community space, which would be perfect for individuals and small groups. The subtle colors and plenty of natural light help to support an atmosphere of productivity for the students. The think tank also includes a community long table to promote bonding and connections between students, with recycled materials making up most of the furniture and walls. The interior courtyard contains a living machine, which is an engineered natural water treatment system. And as the focal point of the project, it embraces the elements of the Living Building Challenge to reach our sustainability goals as a school.
In addition to the living machine, this school has many other sustainable design features. Following the Living Building Challenge framework, we've implemented green walls, urban agriculture, rainwater harvesting, photovoltaics, flexible spaces, and beauty into our design. Many aspects of our building have been inspired by bamboo, including the facade. Tall bamboo forms with a vertical emphasis inspired us to have forest-like columns. The form of a cut stick of bamboo also influenced the shape of the entrance. Bamboo has also influenced our material choice. It is a beautiful and sustainable material that fits well within the theme of this project. So here's what this outside of the Seattle Sustainability STEAM School would look like. Now we'll be hearing from our structural engineers.
Thank you, architects. My name is Cooper Briggs. I'm a junior at Ballard High, and we are the structural engineers, and we're going to explain what role we had in this project as well as what we do.
Hi, my name is Josh Harrington, and I'm a junior at Kentlake High School. So what is structural engineering and what do we do? We, as our very own Gavin Miller so eloquently put it, balance the aspiration of the architects with physics. So we basically look at what forces are going to be acting on the building and design the structure to withstand those forces.
Hi, my name is Gavin Miller, and I'm a senior at Kentlake High School, and I'll be talking about common structural materials. So there are four main materials used in construction: steel, concrete, masonry, and wood, each with their own pros and cons. The two main materials we used in our design were steel and wood for aesthetic purposes, so I'll mainly talk about those. Firstly, steel is a lightweight and strong material that does well at resisting lateral or seismic loads. But however, it is susceptible to corrosion in the form of rust and requires a lot of equipment such as cranes and welding materials to erect. Wood, on the other hand, is cheap, flexible, and easy to modify. However, it is relatively weak and vulnerable to fire and vibrations.
Hi, my name is Corinne Vandenberg, and I am a junior at Seattle Prep. Two types of loads are gravity loads and lateral loads. Gravity loads include the self-weight of the building and the live loads like people and furniture, and are all applied vertically to the building. Lateral loads come from wind and earthquakes and are applied horizontally to the building. For our structural system, we chose a cross-laminated timber deck for the building because we wanted the wood theme that goes with our bamboo theme. Another plus for CLT is it is also good for wider beam spacing that we have throughout our building. We chose steel beams and columns because they give the exposed look that was desired by the architects, and steel is also a cost-efficient material.
Hi, I'm Wyatt from Seattle Prep, and this is a basic layout of our gravity system. So the straight vertical lines represent our beams, the dotted lines are girders, and the squares are columns. And basically, we tried to space the beams a little bit more than 5 feet apart, so it's roughly 4 beams per room. And we got a beam size of W16 by 57, which is just enough for it to handle the dead and live load in most of the building while being very secure. And that is an I-beam type of shape. And it's pretty consistently that size everywhere in the building, except for on the green roof, because soil is very heavy. So the dead load is very heavy. So we needed thicker and larger beams. So the spacing is roughly the same there, but the beams are larger to support that extra weight. And then for the columns, we used round steel columns for the northwest part of the building. It has to support 3 floors, so it has to be a little thicker. So that's what the 7/16 is. That's the thickness of the beam. So you can see like the green part in the bottom right image is what the thickness is. And then the 6 represents the diameter. So that's just the diameter of the beam. So that's on the northwest part of the building. And then on the southeast part of the building, it's only supporting 1 or 2 floors. So that one can be only 3/16 of an inch thick where the green part is, but it's the same diameter because of the spacing between the ceiling and the floor. And then for our lateral system, we used entirely brace frames. So you can see in the top right image, the crossed green lines represent the brace frames. We use this because it's cost effective, very secure, and the architects liked the design of the exposed brace frames, which was great because we can put them in walls and they'll be very secure, or we can put them in front of windows, kind of like the bottom right design, to enhance the look and still have viewing of the outside. And we tried to space these as evenly as we could to make it secure everywhere in the building laterally. And some of them are in the walls where you won't see them, and some of them are, like I said, in front of windows, kind of because we liked how that looked and because it helps us distribute it more evenly.
The structural team was asked to look at an architecturally significant feature. So we decided to look at the canopy framing for the overhanging canopy, which is the thing that's supporting all of the solar panels. For our concept, we took inspiration from the bamboo theme and an image that the architects provided for us that they wanted it to look similar to. And we designed an irregular column layout from those concepts to resemble a bamboo forest.
So to do the framing of the canopy, we first calculated loads on the columns, beams, and girders. For the beams and girders, we found the tributary width for both, which we estimated to 12 feet each, as shown by the blue rectangles in the visual top right. Then, using our approximated dead and live loads for a roof of 48.4 pounds per square foot and 40 pounds per square foot respectively, we calculated a distributed load of approximately 1,100 pounds per foot. Using the code, the appropriate beams would be a W10 by 22 and the girders would be W12 by 35. For the columns, we did a very similar process, except we used tributary area as opposed to tributary width, and found that for a 30-foot tall span, we would need a 9-inch diameter steel column with approximately 1/8 inch wall thickness. That concludes the structural section of this presentation. Now I'll hand it off to the MEP team.
Thank you, structural engineers. Hello, my name is Nikhil Saddam, and I am a senior at Newport High School. And along with me and Sam and our mentors, Mike and John, we give you MEP. Well, what exactly is MEP? Well, MEP stands for Mechanical, Electrical, and Plumbing, and we keep everything running behind the scenes smoothly.
Hello, my name is Sam, and I am a senior at Newport High School, and I will be starting with the HVAC system, which stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And its purpose is to keep the building, as well as the occupants inside the building, at a comfortable temperature by heating and cooling each room, utilizing the DOAS and chilled beams that will be covered by Nikhil on our next slide.
DOAS, which stands for Dedicated Outdoor Air System, is a vital part of HVAC. And the goal of the DOAS is to provide clean air to the occupants of the facility. A heat recovery system is used alongside DOAS to return clean air to allow returning air from the building and air from the outside to reduce energy efficiency, to increase energy efficiency. MERV 8 and MERV 13 filters are also used with the DOAS system to effectively reduce air contaminants such as COVID-19 by 65%. We are also going to be using an active chilled beam system, and although the name suggests the word chilled, we are going to be using them as a heating device. In these beams, we have heated and chilled water running through in order to provide rooms with cool or warm air during convection. What makes these chilled beam an active chilled beam is that it uses clean DOAS air from the slide before and uses that air to give the occupants of the room clean air to breathe. In the second image, we can see the nozzles that show the clean DOAS air.
To send water to the chilled beams, we are using heat pump chillers that replace conventional and separate chiller and boiler system with one device. This device will make both hot water and chilled water at the same time, then sending it through separate loops throughout the building. And we decided on heat pumps because of their energy efficient design that is approximately 3 to 4 times more efficient than a traditional boiler. So all of the equipment that we've mentioned so far has to be powered, bringing us to the electrical side. To do this, power will be run throughout the building, which will light up the rooms using LED bulbs that are substantially more efficient compared to older halogen, incandescent, and CFL bulbs demonstrated to the chart in the bottom right. We will also be powering various things such as the fire alarm, security system, and other information technology systems. Additionally, we will use high efficiency alternatives instead of fossil fuel to provide electricity.
To actually power the building, we are using photovoltaic solar panels, which works when photons from sunlight are able to close the circuit on the panels, providing us with electricity. We are able to store the electricity into batteries. The power will be used by the building first, and we are able to return it to the Seattle power grid during weekends and summers, basically when the facility is unused.
Our building will also be plumbed for ventilation as well as domestic water, wastewater, and rainwater pipes. These pipelines will deliver water to equipment throughout the building, including things such as the water heater and heat pump. To decrease water usage throughout the space, we are using low flow plumbing fixtures that use substantially less water than the current standards. And to increase sustainability, we are using a rainwater capture system depicted to the image on the top right that collects and filters rainwater to be used for both greenhouse irrigation and bathroom facilities. However, before that rainwater can be used, it must be filtered and treated to remove any contaminants that may have made its way into the system. This system is also well suited for Seattle's rainfall with an average of 155 days of rain per year. Continuing with the topic of sustainability, a sustainability dashboard in the form of a monitor or display will be used in the front of the building to showcase various statistics such as the amount of power conserved and the amount of rainwater used in place of water from city pipelines. To put all of these systems together is the construction team, who will be presenting next.
Thank you, MEP team. Hi, my name is Emma Roller, and I'm a junior at Ingraham High School, and I'm a member of the construction team, along with students Luke, Zoe, and Patience, and mentors Fatima, Jarrett, Gordon, and Connor. So here's the construction logistics plan with the site layout pictured, and we started with the truck route heading southwest on Broad Street, where trucks are directed into and out of this yellow loading zone by flaggers. And there will then be a mobile crane starting between the loading zone and the pink laydown area on the western side of the site. And that crane will place building materials from the trucks onto the laydown area and will later be used in construction. And we may need to flatten the ground so the mobile crane can easily move to various locations on site. And there will also be a fence around the perimeter of the site to keep the public out. And because this is a heavy foot traffic and tourism area, there will also be a covered walkway to the north of the site, closest to the Space Needle to ensure public safety. And because the building footprint and loading area are so close to the sidewalk along Broad Street, that whole length will be closed off, but there is a path between the Science Center and the west side of the site that will function as a pedestrian detour. And there will also be Santa cans and dumpsters along the edge of the site, highlighted in orange and blue along Broad Street there, for efficient disposal of waste. And across the street, highlighted in royal blue, is the muster point, which is a predetermined location where everyone on the job evacuates to in the case of an emergency. And because the site is in such a high density area, parking for workers will be off-site and office space can be leased nearby. For example, Como Plaza, pictured here with the helicopter pad to the east of the site, may have office space for lease. And depending on when construction begins, there may be a COVID check-in area by the main entry point to the site to help guarantee worker safety. And then on a broader scale, here's the trucking route for the delivery of materials to the site. So trucks going north or southbound will exit off I-5 onto Mercer, where they will then continue west until turning left to head south on 5th Avenue. And they will then veer right to head southwest on Broad Street, where they will reach the site to drop off materials. And once the trucks have been unloaded, they will continue on Broad Street until taking a left on Denny Way, which they will then continue east on until reaching I-5 again and continuing their route.
Hello, my name is Luke Valerio, and I'm a junior at Kentlake High School, and I get to talk about the master schedule for our project. Initially, the first phase of the schedule is designing and permitting, which should end in the December of 2022. After that, mobilization will happen, which would be transporting all of our resources and equipment to the site. to initiate excavation, which would be clearing out the space for the basement. Once the basement has been cleared out, the structure will be establishing the skeleton of the building. And once that has been fully erected, the enclosure of the building will occur, which would include weather barriers, walls, and roofing. And once the building's been fully enclosed, interior construction can begin, which would include elevators, stairs, and interior designs. After that's been completed, any special construction, which for our project includes the PV arrays and special lab equipment, would be added in. And once all that's been concluded, the site improvements would happen, which would include fixing any areas impacted during the construction process, like fixing the sidewalk or restoring landscapes. And after that's done, the final commissioning and testing will occur. And some of the dates for this would include mobilization to finish in December of 2022, excavation in January of 2023. The structure would finish in May of 2023. The enclosure would be complete of July of 2023, with the turnover expected of September of 2023 for a total construction time of around 16 months and prepared for the 2023 school year as the RFP requests.
All right, I am Zoe Clement and I'm a junior at Ingraham High School. For the summary estimate, the project is coming in just under budget before sale tax at around $11,706,000. This is around $342 per square foot. We've assumed a 5% design contingency, which is about $464,000, and we are carrying a 3% construction contingency at around $292,000. And to meet the design goals set by the architects, the bamboo cladding used for the exterior and interior together cost just under $1 million at $937,000, as there is a premium associated with it. Additionally, the living machine cost $250,000. And then a little bit about our process. We measured and based everything around the plans that the architect sent. For materials, the cost of wood products are currently up around 300%, and steel has been up about 25%. Generally, most things right now are more expensive, but because construction starts early next year, we're hoping and expect the cost to be mostly back to normal. So in this estimate, we have used the historical prices. Additionally, some value engineering opportunities we thought of would be to substitute 6-foot glass canopy for greenhouse on level 2, straighten the north foundation wall, and substitute level 1 southeast curtain wall for a storefront system. That's all for our presentation. We would love to take any questions if you had any.
Okay, nice job, Thursday Team 1. Judges, take it away. Oh, and everyone else, feel free to comment in the chat if you'd like.
So I've got a question for somebody to answer. Did you draw from any personal experiences through your scholastic career that helped guide your design?
DK, you should probably take that one.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone contributed in the team to the design and has their own unique experiences from receiving an education that I can't really speak about in detail. But for me personally, I know that for our design, I wanted there to be a courtyard space that's like open and has plants and stuff, because my school has an open space and has like lots of light and access to the outdoors, which is very nice and makes it a better environment. So details like that influenced our design in many ways. Thank you for the question.
This was a great presentation. I really appreciated the architecture and the thoroughness of the engineering. I think I learned a bit about mechanical engineering during the presentation. I love the use of the word DOAS. That's new for me in the past 10 years. One question for the design team. Can you speak to me about what you think are architecturally are the greatest challenges? This is a concept design, so as you progress further into detail design, where do you think the challenges in the design are?
That's a really interesting question, and thank you for the compliments on our design. Moving forward, I think some of the challenges could be related to code and the specifics of that. We didn't really look into that much since we're just focusing on the broader conceptual things, but making sure everything is legal, that could be difficult. Then I think also for our building, we wanted to do a lot with sustainability, and while you can say that generally that there are things that you want to do, actually managing the specifics of that are hard. Like, for example, the rainwater collection, the specific details of the design would require us to calculate how much rainfall comes in Seattle every year and how many gallons we would need, and then use that to influence the size and dimensions of our roof, which we didn't do since it's just general concept. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know. I'm new at this, so I wasn't sure what to expect. But I guess what can I say? I'm ready to, we should build this building, and I should send you a proposal to, be the engineer. But you already have good engineers, so I'm more than impressed. I don't know that I really have a question. I would say though that you did an excellent job. I mean, it's very much. Angela said I would be impressed, and she wasn't lying. I don't know. I think that it was an excellent. Just covered everything. The speaking rates were good. Impressed by the architecture and just all of it. I don't know. What can I say? That was really cool.
What do you think of our really skinny columns?
Well, it reminds me of something that Lavina's coworkers are doing to me right now. So, it's when you have an impressive vision, it's something that you aspire to handle. I think you're probably on the right track there. Might be able to make them a little bit smaller, and thankfully it's just a canopy there. But I saw all the right parts and pieces on this thing. I mean, I could make maybe it's moment frames or something like that.
Too tall, Russell.
Often, braces and stuff don't get the architects going, but if they do, then you're there to keep the client happy. So anyway, I mean, I saw the talking points that would be there, relative to structure and a great many other things. So
for the construction team, what are some ways, what are some risks in the construction, and how would you propose to mitigate them?
That is a great question. So like we talked about, we have the covered walkways because it's such a high density area and there's lots of foot traffic and tourism. So we have that. So the site is very close to Broad Street. So we have that completely closed off. And then we also have the fencing. So it's a lot of just public safety and making sure people don't enter the site. And also we thought about during the summer, there's music festivals and things like that. So that would also be a good time to watch foot traffic and make sure people don't come too close to the site.
It's a great response.
Yeah, I thought you guys did a really good job of thinking of public safety and the detours around your site and the covered walkway. I thought that was really well thought out. We do have a question from the chat here, and they're directing this at the MEP engineering students. And the question is, what are some of the other considerations that drove your design engineering choices besides just efficiency?
I can take this one. Well, I feel like as engineers, one of the main things you're going to think of is efficiency, but we also thought of going clean for this one. So for the DOAS system, which is the dedicated outdoor air system, we chose to recycle the air from within the building. And I think this would just allow for, again, efficiency, but also it's just much cleaner in general. And to be honest, while we were having our engineering discussions, we just went with what we thought was new and cool. And that just really excited us. So we also chose those over, I guess, outdated or older technologies, just trying out new cool things. Having the mentors also learn with us was pretty cool.
Well, I liked your guys' energy, and I like that you are excited about all the cool new stuff. I think that's awesome.
Thank
Glad
you
to
so
see
much.
that.
Thank
Yeah.
you for the question and the compliment. Thank you.
I did have one other question. So you mentioned the Living Building Challenge, which is a really difficult challenge to meet for projects. It has multiple petals on multiple different layers. I guess the petals all represent a layer of sustainability. And I noticed that you mentioned that on a couple of different elements of the building. Did you look at all of the different petals with the Living Building Challenge, or what influenced you to look at the Living Building Challenge? Because I didn't see that as part of the requirements for the project.
I'll take that question. So to answer how to answer all those questions. Okay, so the reason we went with the Living Building Challenge is because as a group, we decided that we wanted to go for a higher level of sustainability. Both like the mentors and the students thought it's a very important thing and aspect of architecture and wanted to focus on it. And then the reason why we went with the Living Building Challenge is because we did a bit of research before designing. We learned a bit about a few of the different sustainability metrics or guidelines. And I personally had a lot of, or some knowledge and experience with Living Building Challenge, so I pushed our group to go for that. And then for the level of detail and influence it had on the project, it isn't as much as we would like. I think we used it more as a guideline and something to aspire to rather than something that we would have actually achieved with this design, partly because like of the short time we have to focus on this project and focusing on other parts of architecture when learning. And then yeah, so some aspects, like off the top of my head, materials or like maybe the place pedal weren't really focused on when we were designing, but it would have been nice to have those included. But we did focus on the water pedal and having a rainwater collection and the energy pedal through like photovoltaics, as well as the health and happiness and beauty with the air filtration and higher quality with, and the high abundance of plants and nature, I guess, in the design. Does that answer all of the questions that you asked?
It does, and I really do appreciate your honesty there, and I know that it is a huge challenge to be able to accomplish that Living Building Challenge in the short amount of time you guys have to do the design. So, and I'm really happy to see that you pushed yourselves to go a little bit beyond sustainably and kind of challenge your teammates to look for those sustainable solutions. So thank you. I thought that was really impressive.
Thank you.
I wanted to add one thing that I don't think was crystal clear in our presentation, but the focus of our school is sustainability. It is a STEAM school focused on sustainability in all its forms. So that was, you know, we were trying to come up with what is a theme for our school. What are we going to be teaching, STEAM in general or something focused, and sustainability was the idea we came up with. And so this was a walk the talk approach to sustainability.
Yeah.
So we really pushed it.
If I could add on, one of the ideas we had when designing was that school itself could be used to educate students on STEAM and sustainability. because of all of the sustainable features like the solar panels, water collection, living machine in the courtyard, use of bamboo to inspire people.
Thank you.
Maybe I could ask a structural question to my structural colleagues there. I guess, was there any particular aspect of the design that you found more challenging than most, other than maybe the 30-foot tall column that you'd like to speak to at all?
Yeah, I'll speak to that. So I mean, the main challenge that we had was those like 30-foot tall, like skinny columns. Yeah, that's the one we focused on. Originally, our design had like a wavy window, which would have been another challenge, but we got rid of that. Yeah. So I think our main concern was the the skinny, like slender columns.
Did you iterate through some various options or this sort of thing in your process of investigating that skinny column?
Yeah.
Any other ones that were rejected or something?
In the architect's like picture, they have a bunch of like, they wanted them randomly spaced and stuff, but we didn't know if we were gonna be able to have those randomly spaced, so we made more of like a regular grid. That was one of the things we changed.
Thank you.
Those architects. I was hoping let's have the judges do like a quick summary, final feedback or thoughts for the team, and then we will go on to our next presentation. So Russell, final thoughts?
Well, what can I say? I was very impressed by this. Just on the speaking side, you all spoke, slowly and deliberately, which is good. But I mean, there was good, content in some of the mechanical things. I was impressed by the fact that you also, at least in the mechanical area, you told me what you did, but also why. If I were the owner, I would appreciate knowing, like, we chose this because it had a benefit, as opposed to just, we did something and, well, why? Why is that better? Why as a developer am I feeling that that is the right choice? Beyond that, I liked the fact that it was inspired by the local environment and that kind of thing, and it felt to me like you were all working together for a common goal. So in a team sense, it felt strong to me. So congratulations.
I just like to congratulate everyone. It's amazing to me that in 6 months you mastered Zoom technology, did your schoolwork, got used to all of that, and delivered a presentation that is very comparable to what we would see from professionals. The imagery, the architecture that we've seen, your explanation of mechanical and structural systems, your grasp of putting together a construction work plan and how that would work and describing all the components of all the systems was really impressive. And the fact that you did that remotely with 50 of you in 6 months astounds me. So great work. I look forward to seeing you guys next year. And this was terrific. I would love to see next year the mechanicals, structural engineers, and architects in a room together arguing over one thing, because that's where our profession really gets interesting.
I guess I'll just finish up here. I really enjoyed, from the architectural standpoint, you guys put together some really professional looking renderings that really made you feel like you were in the space. And I think that really helped to convey your design, and I really enjoyed that part of it. I also want to say that as a group, you guys all had a lot of enthusiasm and obviously learned a lot. I've seen a ton of these presentations, and your group especially had a lot of enthusiasm for what they were presenting. They showed knowledge of what they were presenting, both on like the architecture, structural, MEP, construction. You guys all knew your stuff front and back, and you learned it all in 16 weeks or 20 weeks. So again, I got to commend you and echo the thoughts of my colleagues here. I think you guys put together a really good presentation, and I thank you for allowing us to view it.
All right, thank you, judges. Great job, Thursday Team 1. let's move on to Thursday Team 2. I would like to introduce you first to Amber Fulgham from Gensler. Funny story about Amber. I remember the first year that she mentored. I feel like it was her and maybe one other person from Gensler. And I visited their team meeting, and she we were sort of in a corner, and she sort of looked over at me and was like, what do I have to do to lead a team? I said, well, all you got to do is tell me, and like, we'll make it happen. And she says, okay, we want to lead a team. And then the next year, Gensler led a team, and the year after that, they led a team. And this year, there are more Gensler mentors than any other firm in the ACE program. So Amber started this, I don't know, snowball that went down a mountain and just kind of took over. And we're really grateful and appreciative of her. So Amber, say a couple things about your presentation tonight, and we'll get you going.
Sure, thanks for that. I roped them all in, and now they're probably all regretting it and don't want to come back. Hopefully not. Hi everyone, I'm Amber. I'm an interior designer at Gensler. Like Angela mentioned, this is my third year within ACE, and this year was really like no other. I mean, virtual learning just takes so much extra planning and really asks a lot out of our students in terms of participation. So I'm first going to shout out our mentors. We had 22 of them, so we had kind of a 2-to-1 mentor to student ratio. So thank you, mentors, for your countless hours, all of your behind the scenes work. And to our students, I mean, seriously, you make mentoring so much fun. You showed up every week, just ready to learn. We really put you to work, but you all should be so proud of the project, and congrats to everything you accomplished.
Welcome to our Thursday Team 2 project, Grassroots.
I'm Kelsey. I'm a sophomore at Inglemoor, and this is the architecture team.
Hi, I'm Emerus, and I'm a junior at Rogers High School.
Hi, I'm Drew. I'm a junior at Shorewood High School.
Hi, my name's Alora, and I'm a junior at Mariner High School.
Hi, I'm Kirtana, and I'm a senior at Redmond High School.
Hi, I'm Abby Boyce. I'm a sophomore at Kamiak High School.
Hi, I'm Connor. I am a junior at SAMI High School. I'm also the project manager of architecture.
Hi, I'm Christine, and I'm a sophomore at Sealth High School, and this is the engineering team.
Hello, I'm Alex Shawcraft. I'm a junior at Shorewood High School.
Hi, I'm Elia Sadi. I'm a freshman at University Prep, and I'm the engineering project manager.
Hi, I'm Wynn Johnson. I'm a freshman at UPrep, and this is the construction team.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm a freshman at Shorewood High School.
Hi, I'm Brooke, and I'm a junior at Mountlake Terrace High School, and I'm the construction team project manager.
Students worked with mentors from Gensler, FSi Engineering, Rushing, KPFF, and Hoffman Construction.
Even through COVID-19 and Zoom, our team has been able to get to know each other. One way we did this was by using the Zoom annotating feature and drawing self-portraits of ourselves. We also used emojis to explain our moods and our favorite things. We took time to learn about each individual discipline with small and fun activities. For architecture, we attempted to match buildings designed by the same architect. For engineering, we had a budget and had to spend it wisely on appliances. And for construction, we guessed what was the best order to put together a building. All the activities helped us build community by letting our peers get to know us through silly ways.
The purpose of this project is to have a new STEAM facility for Seattle, since there is a need for that in the city. Seattle was gifted the land and has $12 million for the design and construction of the building. Some of the project requirements were that it has to be COVID safe, integrated into the campus, and it be at least LEED Gold.
With our budget of $12 million, we needed to design a space where high school students could explore the STEAM subjects: science, technology, engineering, art, and math. To do this, we needed 2,000 square feet for the computer lab space, 3,000 square feet for the building's wet labs, 1,000 square feet for the digital fabrication lab, 2,000 square feet for meeting rooms of various sizes, a lobby and exhibit space, a break room and kitchenette, restrooms, and support spaces to house the building's core mechanical and electrical systems. Overall,
This is around 10,000 square feet. The building needs to be open to the public by fall 2023.
One of the first concepts that we learned about was strategy. We started out this meeting with a presentation and then received our homework assignment to interview adults in STEAM-related fields. In the following meeting, we did an activity with our responses from the interviews. We looked at the similarities in job descriptions, ages, and relationships to the field, but most importantly, we compared the responses to the more open-ended questions. We found that most of the interviewees said that STEAM environments were successful when there are hands-on activities with open communication, and unsuccessful when firms are corporate, strict, and unwelcoming in the way that they are built. After our comparison activity, we formed our own short responses to the questions based off of the experts' opinions. Some key takeaways were that, among others, flexibility, light, collaboration, and creativity are most important in a STEAM environment, and discrimination, competitiveness, lack of diversity, and lack of teamwork are all negatives. In this first client meeting, the architecture team was able to ask questions about the project and preliminary design. One of the most important issues discussed was public access to the building. Our client explained that he wanted the space to be open and accessible to all, but that security should be taken heavily into consideration. The space of the building and its proximity to others were brought up, and we discussed how to get things done but still be a good neighbor to the surrounding public structures. This applies to both the actual construction of the building as well as the impact of the final product. Another important takeaway was the green-based design of both the interior and exterior spaces. This focus eventually led to the decision of the accessible green roof to create more public interactions while maintaining a sense of security.
In addition to being in the downtown area, adjacencies and buildings nearby include the Como Plaza, Museum of Pop Culture, Seattle Children's Museum, Pacific Science Center, and McDonald's. The STEAM building has the opportunity to become a gateway to the Seattle Center and will be experienced by pedestrians along adjacent streets as well from above by Space Needle visitors.
The project site is located in the Seattle Center, which is an appropriate name given how it can be accessed through multiple bus lines. Also, the property has street access on the southeastern side, allowing for pedestrian and vehicular access, with a drop-off turnaround to the northeastern side. Finally, the proposed building would be close to the monorail, providing easy access to Westlake, the true center of transportation in downtown Seattle. Early in the design process, we took a look at how the building would be positioned with respect to the sun. As a team, we imagined what it would be like to experience this building throughout the year with the constantly changing sun angle. Similarly, we researched the average wind direction and speed over the course of the year, considering whether we could cool a building with natural ventilation during the summer. The roof and facade treatments became a major focus as we studied solar exposure.
Now we will share the concept design for our project. For our visioning exercise, we placed green dots for likes and red dots for dislikes on the photos during class. Here are some examples of disliked photos. These images felt too messy, cold, or were constricting and had no natural light. Here are some examples of liked photos. These images have warmth, organic shapes, feel connected to nature, and have a modern and clean, yet cozy feel. This activity helped us determine what we liked and wanted to implement in our building.
Now I will talk about the bubble diagramming. We used bubble diagramming to determine program adjacency. We determined the computer labs and the fab labs should be secluded from the wet labs for safety purposes. We split the wet labs into 3 different labs with their own meeting rooms for students to work together in a secured workspace. We considered the computer lab as the heart of the lab spaces, which would be an active public space to engage them, the main open area.
Roots has a concept and hopes that students discover ways to attach and create memories while finding the nourishment they need for their education. This would help create an environment that feels welcoming and encouraging. It would also set a foundation that is supportive of each individual needs, from dynamic, vibrant areas to cozy, relaxing spaces. The canopy concept surrounds the building to make it a part of the plant life of the Seattle Center.
Here, we started to hone in on how to get that clean and organic feel. Refined shapes with organic aspects became the prevailing idea, and using circles, natural light, and warm materials helped us find the balance between a study space and a cozy spot.
Now we're going to move on to the design. When we started the design process, we found inspiration for our design. Then we modeled and sketched our ideas. When designing as a team, we looked for similarities between the models and collaborated towards a final design.
For number one, we put the entrance on the far side of the building to attract people from the Space Needle and allow easy access to the building. Number two is the street side of the building, where we utilize screening to give people a filtered view in.
Number three shows an open face window that helps add to a clean outdoor feeling by leaving an open space to help blend the feeling you get outside the building and what you're feeling inside the building. Number four shows an alternate path that serves as direct access to the stage or the other side of the auditorium.
In the exterior materials, we wanted to keep things clean and gently mimic the natural shapes throughout the building. Warm wood to follow the tree ideas and more casual atmosphere, and pale cream stone or white adobe to help the building maintain the light and inviting feel. Texture was also important to keep it from feeling industrial and removed. The main image showcases the side that faces the Space Needle, and you can look into the exhibit and break room. Here we were inspired by our trees again, and the column under the stage will be an actual branch or part of the trunk. In a lot of our concepts and sketches, we tried to find the balance between direct and indirect references to nature. This showcases the face of the wet labs with a Voronoi grid overlay in metal on the windows. And since the windows are a big focal point of the exterior, the overlays help to provide minor privacy in the labs. In a lot of our first sketches, we were playing with height differences along the roof to make it more interesting from the ground, and you can see that reflected in the raised entry as well as the main roof garden.
When designing the Voronoi for the window, we experimented with different patterns to see what would look the best while also being practical by providing enough sunlight and privacy. We made the decision to do a web pattern to resemble nature, with smaller shapes closer to points on the window.
The roof became our biggest relaxation and flexible study space, with the larger garden on the left and structured planting beds on the right. We initially had straight edges on the planting beds, but both interiors and exteriors started exploring ribbon walls, and in the end they almost overlay each other. This major walking path gives us a view of the Space Needle, the surrounding city, and the lovely native plantings.
We wanted to achieve a very green feeling with this project, and what better way to feel connected to nature than with nature itself? The roof consists of 2 walking paths, a performing stage, and many flower beds.
For the floor plan, we started designing from the inside out and allowed the program elements to shape the building.
On the left is our final floor plan. In the space open to the public, there's a reception desk, a view of the digital fab lab, a coffee bar, a curved glass wall that allows us to view and access the outside, and additional seating and exhibit work. Past the secure door entry, there is a computer lab area with 2 computer lab pods, a small kitchenette, and an enclosed tree/skylight. Aligned on the furthest wall are the meeting rooms and wet labs, alternating one after the other. At the end of the building, there are restrooms and the stairs that lead to the roof.
We were really inspired by the organic shapes and concepts of nature, thus the constant motif of plants and the curving shapes of them. We wanted a space that flowed together really well, that still had distinct ideas, but kind of united together under one broad central idea of using nature to further connect all the different spaces.
For the interior materials, we wanted to make the place look natural and avoided the basic looking STEM lab. The overall color scheme for the building is white and other shades of green to elevate the space in the building. Materials like wood bring out warmth, carpet tiles for comfort, windows for natural lighting, and indoor plants to help reduce stress and improve your whole outlook on work. Area 1 is the reception area, which leads into the exhibit space where there's a coffee shop. The exhibit area has a display area to exhibit artwork. The curved glass wall represents a view of the Space Needle. Area 2 is the open space where there's a tree in the middle, which represents the overall theme of nature. Area 3 is the Fab Lab, which is different from the other labs where people learn, invent, and create. Having their own designated space would allow the learning to continue without any conflicts with the other lab environments.
Area 4. Meeting rooms are positioned in between the wet labs and have easy access from the Fab and Computer Lab. One of the walls is a corkboard which allows students to pin ideas to the wall. Area 5. The design of the space is created to have an openness that can be easy for the flow of traffic and close to natural lights. Area 6. For the railing of the stairs, it was created to mock the branches and roots. The design would create a smooth transition from the exterior to interior.
This is the view of the reception area. Right as you walk in, you are met with a curved reception desk that matches the curved slatted wall behind it. The curves on the wall lead you into the space where you sip your coffee or view an art exhibition. The coffee bar, originally not part of the plan, was implemented to bring in people and engage the public with our building.
This is our open area space. The floor pattern is designed to act like paths to guide the guests throughout the area. To the left, there is an enclosed garden bringing natural light to the area. Behind the garden, there is a ribbon wall that incorporates the concept of roots by mimicking the organic flow. Along the wall are the entrances to the meeting rooms and wet labs. The computer lab has an individual work zone, open collaboration, and lecture pod. The individual work zone is created with the intent of having a quiet, isolated space where students can focus on their work. The lecture pod is an open, warm classroom with unique green carpet to avoid the feeling of a sterile classroom.
A lounge pod is a cozy space with comfortable seating and plants to light up the room. The circular room in the middle of a bustling place is meant for relaxing and winding down.
An accessible roof and skylights with a view of the Space Needle give an open, safe feeling for any visitors, creating a memorable experience that welcomes them to return.
Now the engineering team will give a brief overview of what we have learned and what we have achieved over this past academic year. Starting with structural engineering, we first learned what a structural engineer does, decides where the bones of the building want to be, makes the building safe, comfortable, and useful, and improves the efficiency of the structural system by saving in costs, materials, and time. We looked at a variety of structures with structurally interesting and significant features. We learned about gravity loads, which are the vertical loads being the weight of the building, and lateral loads, the horizontal loads coming from external forces. We then jumped into building elements, from the foundation to columns, lateral systems like resisting moment frames to compression and tension. These concepts are shown in the top left picture. We then designed the column and beam placement of the building in multiple drafts, recognizing problem spots and continuously updating the plan. As we were designing, we also worked on the load calculations for the columns and beams, which was especially difficult due to the heavy green roof. Lastly, we calculated our seismic design per RFP requirements. After multiple homework assignments, such as the few pictured, and in-class time, we found all of the necessary calculations needed to have a structurally sound building.
The structural engineering team discussed how to determine structural calculations, which included finding loads and forces. We learned about compression and tension forces, and we then designed the beams by finding the tributary load on each beam and then choosing the steel shape that had enough shear and bending capacity. We also learned about how, as an engineer, the loads on the structure are overestimated and the capacity is underestimated to guarantee that the building is safe.
One of the structural engineering requirements on the RFP is to develop the structural design of one architecturally significant building component. So we decided to have a full tree column supporting the overhang, which acts as a stage on the roof. The tree column will fit in with the nature theme while supporting the heavy stage. Not only does this column have to hold a tremendous amount of weight, the special design of the full tree makes this component architecturally significant. Our calculations for this single column are shown on the left-hand side of the screen. Another element mentioned in the RFP was that we have to adjust to suit architectural constraints, and just within this architecturally significant element, we have definitely achieved this goal. For example, while our calculations told us that the diameter of the tree column only needed to be 18 inches, the architects decided that a 30-inch diameter would appear more visually appealing, so we adapted to their needs and changed the size.
The engineering team went over the LEED scorecard and talked about the ways we could meet our goal. Our goal is to reach LEED Gold, which requires at least 60 points. Out of the 110 points possible, we feel confident that the project can achieve 63 points, which would meet our goal. There are also more sustainability measures the project can include, up to a maximum of 87 points. With that, we'd likely take on 2 to 3 more items to give the project some additional space above the 60-point threshold. An interesting part about the site is that it's located near multiple bus stations and the Seattle monorail, which reduces air pollution and adverse environmental impacts. Also, there are diverse stores surrounding the building within walking distance, which helped us achieve points for location and transportation. For plumbing, we were able to estimate the different plumbing uses in the building based on the different spaces, including water closets, urinals, and sinks. Using this information, we were able to develop line diagrams showing the flow of water into and out of the building.
Over the year, we learned that the building needs both fresh air from ventilation, as well as a system that can heat and cool the spaces. Our ventilation system was sized based on the type and size of each room and how many people we'd expect in those spaces. Finally, we developed a one-line diagram to show how the fresh air enters and leaves each space in the building. Of course, our building requires electrical power to run the machinery and all necessities inside. In the beginning, we learned the load calculations, voltage requirements, and eventually agreed that our building will run on a three-phase low voltage system. Second, we designed our mechanical electrical room to create the most accessible and least architecturally intrusive design. Lastly, we created a one-line diagram to map the wiring to and from our electrical appliances.
My name is Brooke, and I'm the Student Construction Project Manager. My group will be discussing what we learned about the construction process this past year and show you how these elements apply to the project we've been working on. Here is the work breakdown structure our team developed for the project. Please note that many of the tasks within each category of work overlap, and thus it is just a description of the tasks needing to be done to complete the project rather than a final schedule. After being cleared to start construction, we will set up our job site layout. This includes site preparations like mobilization, perimeter fencing, porta potties, and establishing the proper redirection of traffic. This will be followed by earthwork, where we will locate our utility sources, implement our erosion and sediment control plan, establish tree protection, clear our site, and begin excavation. After excavation, we will begin putting in the building's foundations and assembling its superstructure. Our FRP footings, which are the tall columns in the foundation of the building, elevator shaft, and structural steel will be implemented at this stage. Once the foundation and superstructure are finished, we can begin working on the building's facade and its roof by framing the exterior walls, putting in a weather barrier, and constructing the roofing assembly. One notable feature of this project is the tree enclosure in the center of the building. We will also be working on implementing this design element in the rooftop amphitheater at the stage. After the building has been fully weatherproofed and sealed, we can begin working on the interior wall assemblies, put in proper ceilings, and begin putting in the flooring. Continuing with our work breakdown structure, throughout the build, we will be putting in various furniture finishes, some of which need to be installed far earlier than others. These finishes include lab workstations and standard lab equipment, toilet partitions in the bathrooms, and more. Throughout the build, we will also have to tackle vertical transportation, more specifically elevators and stairs. From the assembly of our superstructure and onward, there will be mechanical and electrical subcontractor craft workers on site to install the building's mechanical and electrical systems. This is especially important in our project because we must ensure the safety of the students when the building is in use. These features include the wet lab's chemical containment systems, eye washes, gas hookups, and fire protection alongside the standard HVAC plumbing and electrical systems. At various points, we will install building utilities. Towards the end of the project, we will do outdoor landscaping, exterior lighting and painting, sidewalks, and signage. This schedule shows the breakdown of the project timeline, including the time it takes to design. Please note that actual work on the job site does not begin until March of 2022. As you can see, we are about halfway done with the design process. This extra time allows for the finalization of design elements and value engineering adjustments we may decide to make. The project start date, December 17th, 2020, was the day our team received the RFP and began the design process. Through estimation, we believe the entire process will take roughly 12 months to construct. If we achieve our scheduled start date for on-site work, which is March 1st, 2022, the building should be complete by early February of 2023, meaning the building will be ready to open to the public for the 2023 school year. I will now pass it on to Brandon, who is going to discuss our site logistics plan.
So this is our preliminary site plan. On the site, there's not enough room to have trucks drive through, so instead the trucks should pull over by the material laydown to be unloaded. We put gates on the north and south for good access to the entire site. A material laydown is in the south area because it had better road access. It's also a larger space. The offices can be put on the other side where there's other room. We also made some assumptions of this plan. One of them was the location of the utilities, since we don't know for sure where they are. Another is that there's enough laydown area. Third, we assumed that we would be able to have a gate on the north corner because that is not public road. We also considered safety in our plan, of course. In the plan, there's a fence surrounding the entire site to prevent the public from entering. Additionally, the near sidewalk to the site will be closed. For the workers, there will be all the required PPE. The site will also have fall protection and comply with the OSHA requirements.
Whether you go the architect, engineer, or construction route, estimates are important. When an owner and developer initially approaches an architect firm, the architect's team has to provide a rough estimate to the owner. This allows the owner to begin building their budget. I'm going to start off by explaining the project details. The building is a steel superstructure with concrete foundation, landscape features on the roof such as walkways, planting area, and amphitheater area. 3,029 square feet of storefront glass assembly, 5,588 square feet of exterior facade walls, 272 square feet of main entry, and 13,925 square feet of floor area, ceiling area, and rooftop area. There are meeting rooms and wet labs. Additionally, there's a big open circulation area. The top costs of the physical items of the building are 24.2% of the expenses of the physical structure is going towards the superstructure, 18.5% is going towards mechanical systems, 17.1% is going towards the facade, and 16.2% is going towards electrical systems. The other items are listed on the slide. The pre and indirect items of the budget goes as follows: 55.1% towards building and site elements, 18.5% toward owner support costs, such as insurance and a personal consultant, 15.8% towards construction support costs, such as office managers and other items, and finally 10.5% towards design support costs. The overall budget for this is $12 million, and after considering all costs, we think that this project will cost $12.88 million. This means that we will need to explore VE options such as making the tree a fake tree or some sort of sculpture, turning cutout walls into flat straight walls, or changing the amphitheater to a material cheaper than concrete.
That concludes the presentation for our STEAM project Grassroots. We hope you enjoyed seeing our project come to life.
All right, way to go, Thursday Team 2. All right, judges. Oh, all right, judges, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. I really appreciated seeing the iterative nature of how you learned a concept and then came to a conclusion. The architecture was very consistent in your concept and theme of the organics that was in the vertical space, the carpets and everything. So I really liked the completeness. You picked up the transportation and how key this site is for transportation and highlighted that, which was great, and showed entrances and exits and how it interacted with the pedestrians and the public, which is amazing. And I'm really impressed that you put together one-line diagrams from mechanical, electrical. I'm kind of jealous. I wish I could do that. So I'm really impressed that you pulled that together in such a short time frame. So really overall, a really great presentation, very comprehensive, and you showed us how you arrived to your conclusion. So that was great. I don't have a question yet, but I will think of one.
I too liked how the presentation was very integrated. At times I couldn't really tell which team was talking because it all kind of meshed together into a cohesive story of what you were trying to achieve. So that was a good thing. That night, I want to know how you put that little bubble where you could see the person talking. That was cool. I don't know, I guess for the structure, I guess, that's what I focus on, right? So, I mean, were there interesting things that you learned that you found surprising after, thinking about column loads and beams and things of this nature that, just thought, wow, that's really interesting how that works?
Yeah, I can take this one. So we at first had no idea what we were going to do with the stage overhang because we knew it would be really heavy with lots of live load. And because it's a stage, there'll probably be instruments and like big pianos and lots of people sitting there. And so we knew we were going to have to do something. So we thought that we'd make it into our architecturally significant component. And or at least I had never heard of a full tree column. And I didn't think that would be possible with how much weight we knew it would be carrying. But after all the calculations, we realized like even with a very skinny tree, like it would have been enough. And we ended up making it a little thicker for like appearances, but that was really interesting to learn about. And then overdoing it in some places, like the moment frames that we were talking about, it seemed like we were going to need a lot. And it turns out we just needed like 3 or 4, and we put maybe 5 just to be extra safe.
Cool. Yeah, I saw 55 kips on that tree. That's it's a good tree. Uh-oh, Pete, I think you're on mute.
I was waiting to see your reaction, Russell, to the tree columns and see what your thoughts were about that. My thoughts are, I thought the way that you explained going through the design process, I thought was really thorough. How you interviewed people and you got their comments, you brought in stakeholders. I really was impressed in the way you did that. That's a level of design that we do as professionals, right? So I got to commend you guys for doing that and taking that step to get some feedback from the public. I also thought that you guys put together a very good and concise floor plan. It was very thorough and it was well thought out. Obviously, with your massing diagrams, you guys did a really good job of putting the elements of the building near each other where they needed to go. So I was really impressed about that. I do have a couple questions that I wanted to ask though. So with the roof garden and the building's adjacencies towards Fifth Avenue, which gets a lot of street traffic, was there consideration for how to eliminate the street traffic and keep the roof garden and the spaces in the roof, I guess, a little more serene?
Do you want to take this one?
Okay, I don't know if you said my name, but I'm just going to answer. I think we were focused more on just having it be an interactive space. So I don't think we were as worried about it being quiet as we were it being like light and natural and a way to interact with the city. So I would honestly say it wasn't an issue. Like with the stage, we were thinking about having it interact with Mopop because students, even like middle school groups, come to perform at Mopop, and we thought, hey, maybe they could perform here. So since the garden already was so ingrained in our plans for like community outreach, we felt like it was going to be okay.
Thank you. And I do appreciate that the structural team mentioned that they had to deal with the weight of the roof garden, which means that your team did a really good job of coordinating within the different subgroups. And so I got to commend you on that. You don't see that happen very often.
We had 3 project managers, so shout out to all of them.
I guess I'm wondering, how did you decide on steel as the structural system? I may have missed that, but.
For the actual like moment frames and other structural systems like those, it was I guess up to us, but pretty standard to use steel for those items. It was just kind of like our like planned different structures, but the architects worked a lot closer with the materials of the building. So I would say maybe one of you guys could explain more about why you chose those.
With the like exterior facade materials, because we wanted the organic feel, we did want a lot of wood. We felt like typical siding like you see on houses obviously was not going to look great, and we didn't want to just cover the whole thing in wood. So we chose the stone because it gives that feeling of solidity without weighing down the building, especially the light stone, because we played with having a lighter wood and then a darker stone, and it just felt too heavy. And then the steel just felt a little too industrial. And I think in the presentation we talked about incorporating texture in the stone and the wood for that same reason.
Got it. There's also a question on the chat from Dan at Methuen. Can the architectural team explain a bit more about the patterns on the windows? What inspired them, and what are they called? I didn't hear the word you used for them.
Yeah, of course. So in some of our initial sketches, we knew from the visioning that we wanted lots of natural light, and that generally meant big windows. And because they took up basically the entire side of the wet labs, which are, along the sidewalk, big feature, we wanted to add some interest to them. So people had been playing around, even in the initial sketches before we talked about this, with different shapes for the window panes. And then once we started designing, we'd kind of left them alone. And at the end, we were like, oh yeah, this was a really cool thing we wanted to incorporate. And one of the mentors actually brought it up because we had an inspiration image that had that pattern, and he knew about it. So he walked us through how it worked, the calculations to make a program that, came up with that pattern. It's called a Voronoi. And it's based off of the pattern people used to place grocery stores and like gas stations. So that was really interesting, fun tidbits. Yeah.
You did the math yourself? Oh boy.
Oh no, we didn't do the calculations. He used
Okay.
a program that you can work to make it do the pattern. Yeah.
So I was going to ask a construction one. I don't actually know right in front of me what the RFP said, but I noticed that the construction activity ended in kind of sort of February or March. Or do you think if, since I guess the school year presumably starts in September, do you think there'd be any disadvantage or advantage to moving the schedule around a little bit to, be done a little bit closer to when the school year started?
Brandon or Wen, do you want to take this one?
I think that the first priority is to get the project done just whenever is possible, so there's enough time to set up for the school year and make sure that everything's ready. And if things go over time, then we can just make sure there's extra time in the budget so that everything's ready in time for the September.
I've got a question here for the, I guess it's for maybe the whole entire team, but it kind of focuses on the construction team and interaction with the rest of the team. Were there any elements of the design that you wanted to incorporate, but because of budget, or you knew it was going to be over budget, that you had to sacrifice?
I mentioned this in the value engineering slide, but the architecture team really wants a live tree in the middle as part of their big design. And having a real live tree would be very expensive. So we were thinking of having some sort of sculpture or fake tree instead, so that it can still incorporate this roots and nature theme, but not be as costly.
Thank you.
Another question for the construction team. Did you talk about buffers being built in your schedule, and where do you have the float? Or did you account for float in the schedule?
Brooke, our main schedule person, isn't here today, but I don't think we really focused on that.
Okay, let's have the judges do one last, I don't know, final words or final conclusion for the team. And then I've got a couple more slides and we'll wrap up. Who wants to go first? Pete?
I can go first. Sure, I'll go first this time. And again, I've seen many presentations over my years with ACE, and you know, you students, you continue to impress us. And so again, I want to thank you and congratulate you. You guys have gone through a really tough year here with distance learning and education and collaboration with different team members in ACE now too. And you guys have done a really good job in putting together a presentation that shows that you've learned a lot of material here, and you can carry these experiences up to college with you and really guide your career with them. So again, thank you for having us and allowing us to be part of your presentation.
I'd like to second that. Your presentation really showed us how much effort and learning you accomplished over the, I don't know if it's 20 weeks or 6 months, but in a short amount of time. We spend semesters in school learning the amount that you put together in this short amount of time. So all of the effort really came through, and your presentation materials were really professional. Second, I want to second what Russell said, you know, just embedding the video of the person and all the imagery. It was a great looking presentation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, seriously, I want to know how you did that. But yeah, I mean, I really like the idea that you reached out to the, you know, friends, colleagues, people down the street to figure out what they thought would be a good idea. I mean, that's, you know, it's a very sophisticated, you know, way of going about things. Again, the presentation was outstanding. You know, I guess it's the second one of these I've seen, and I didn't know what to expect from these, but wow. I mean, I would go talk to my wife. She's a teacher in the Issaquah School District to figure out why they aren't doing this. But again, absolutely outstanding. I mean, what more can I say? Just fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the judges. The designs were definitely impressive. And every year, this event and the innovation that the students bring to the table, it's just so inspiring. So there's no doubt that the future of the built environment is in good hands. I wish we could all give a round of applause. Do you want to do that? Round of applause at home. Pete, do you want to chime in one last thing?
One last thing, I also want to thank all you mentors that helped the students out. It's obvious that you guys have made a difference here. You guys have imparted a lot of knowledge. And I know that you guys spend a lot of time in doing that. And so thank you all, especially Amber, you and Dan, you guys are rock stars. Thanks.
Awesome. Great job. Great job. So before we go, I just want to say a quick invitation from ACE. Putting together a program like this takes a ton of time and energy and dedication. And we've estimated that we run about a $1 million a year program. But while the majority of the program is donated by mentor volunteers and corporate time, we do incur costs like liability insurance, and we run background checks. So we welcome tax deductible donations to the ACE program so we can continue to offer ACE at no cost to the students. There's a donation page in the program that was emailed out tonight if you are interested in doing something like that for us. We have a lot of fun. Congratulations to all of the teams. I want to give one last special thank you to OAC Services for being our webinar host tonight. We could not do this without them. Ethel, Ari, Cynthia, Christine, you guys are wonderful. We are recording this and we're going to put it up on our YouTube page. So be sure to check that out and then share it Share it with everyone that you know. Share it with all the teachers at the Issaquah School District. We'll get more kids into ACE next year. That's it. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next year. Have an amazing summer, and way to go. Nice work.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Have a
Angela.
good evening.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Night.